Our next lesson in econ is called Money, Its Use Through History. Let's look at our goal for this lesson. Our goal is to describe the different uses of money throughout history. Get your vocabulary words. I'm going to read the definition and say the word. I want you to repeat the word after me. The father of economics who wrote The Wealth of Nations is Adam Smith. Time period during and after the Revolution, which was brought about in the quest for new trade routes, was the Age of Exploration. The act of keeping accounts, balances, and transactions of a business is bookkeeping. A region ruled by a duke or duchess is duchies. Fencing and property in order to raise sheep for their wool to meet an increasing demand for the product is enclosure movement. A monetary unit that was a strong universal standard in the Middle Ages was gold coinage. One who commits money or capital in hopes of receiving a future financial benefit is an investor. An established and regulated exchange for business between buyers and sellers on a regular basis is a market economy. A good that all people accept as a means of payment is a medium of exchange. An office developed by kings in order to weaken nobility, answerable only to the king, is a sheriff. Okay, go ahead and get your notes. Go wherever you are in your notes, write the dates. Okay, in 2000, Microsoft founder W.H. Gates III was listed by Forbes magazine as being worth $60 billion. It was reported in 1997 that Bill Gates' net worth grew by an astounding $400 million a week. That kind of money boggles the mind. How far would that money stretch if it were laid end to end? How could you possibly spend all that money in one lifetime? We sometimes get puzzled by the huge amounts of money that we read about. How has money been used down through the ages? Well, money was a good middle ground to reach for payments. A market economy demands that goods and services be exchanged. That is, if you buy my house, you will expect payment of some kind. But before money was widely used, the question was, what would be fair? Do I give 2 cows for building my house? A barn full of corn? 3 kegs of nails? Exchanging one good or service for another became awkward. A man who made nails and needed bread might have trouble finding a baker who wanted nails. Okay? So a medium of exchange, a good that all people would accept as a means of payment, was necessary. Okay. Medium of exchange. A good that all people would accept as payment. Okay, so it's defined as a good that all people accept as payment. Okay, was necessary. Money was a means of fair payment, a medium of exchange, so that you do not have to trade for goods you do not really want. The lack of unity meant the lack of consistent trade. In Europe during the 9th and 10th centuries, trade was difficult. One of the reasons for difficulties inherent in medieval trade was the political division of the continent. It was a mass of small duchies and provinces. Okay, so in Europe, this is during the 9th and 10th centuries. Trade was difficult. Administration was uneven and fairness in trade was a question. Every pretty baron along the trade routes had a toll gate. In some areas, outlaws were rampant and a merchant trading in Europe took a great risk. Yet time progressed, more and more merchants believed the risk to be worth it. Okay, there were the Crusades. Whetted the European appetite for Eastern goods, as well as making a number of Europeans quite rich. The new wealth increased the money supply and provided a class of investors. Okay, so it increased the money supply. And of course, if there's money, people want to be involved in that, which led to investors. The Crusaders, returning from the East, also introduced Europeans to a more modern business technique such as bookkeeping. Okay, if we're going to have money, we have to have a way of keeping track of that money, which is where bookkeeping came in play. Before money, everybody just traded whatever goods they had, so there was no need for bookkeeping. You just traded. But now that there's money, now we have to keep track of how much money we have, where the money's going. As monarchies gained power, so did trade. The kings of Europe tried to increase their power over the nobility, and this power struggle was a factor in the development of trade and a market system. A truly free market demands a stable political situation, and such a situation eventually developed. All the factors slowly worked together for the rise of the market. In many ways, they were interdependent. Okay, so we need to develop a market system. And there are some things that played a part in the developing of a market system. The use of money. Okay, money. The rise of the middle class in cities. Okay, middle class in cities. The religious Reformation. The religious Reformation.